Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. It's Anonymous T. Hope you're having an amazing day today. So, friends, how many of us have them, you guys? Because wouldn't your friends attend your funeral? At least that's what I was under the impression. Doesn't your intimate friends attend your funeral, pay their last set of respects? No. Not in the case of Kevin Samuels, you guys. Apparently, if you knew Kevin Samuels from YouTube and you bash anybody or try to expose anybody that calls out the clout chasing and exploitive behavior, instead of attending Kevin Samuels' funeral, your intimate friend, your friend you had an intimate relationship with, you instead are arguing with people in the comments on YouTube, you guys. No flight out to Oklahoma City. No rental car to Oklahoma City. No planes, trains, automobiles to Oklahoma City for a funeral that you've allegedly known about for weeks. No. Not on my watch. No. The bullying, the threatening, all of these attacks. You talked all this big game, said that you were, the true friend of Kevin Samuels. You bought him gifts, you visited him a time or two, and you knew him intimately. And the woman that was with him when he had passed, you claimed that was supposed to be his wife or was going to be his wife. She was nowhere to be found at the funeral. And it's funny for all of the things people have to say about black women. Black women are the ones at the end of the day that still show up for you. Make it make sense. After all of the vitriol and all of the bashing and all of the gaslighting and all of the nastiness, it is still black women at the end of the day that show up for you. Where was the manosphere, you guys? We told you guys for weeks. Some of you were being bamboozled, you were being hoodwinked, you were being led astray. People were manipulating your emotions. People were manipulating the fact that you were diehard Kevin Samuels fans and used that to their advantage. Literally long stroked you on their lives to get your money. And present the title as if they were telling you some exclusive information, you guys. Only for it to be a con. Only for it to be a scam so they could run up their dollars, you guys. So they could run up the super chaps and get a bag. And now that they made that bag, and now that they have tried a couple other videos to see if they could still match that big bag that they made from the memorial, the online memorial, they're nowhere to be found, you guys. Nowhere to be found when it is time to put up or shut up, you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I was raised, in a Christian household. And I was raised, whether it was family, whether it was friends, coworkers, whoever. Even if things did not end on the best of terms, even if you weren't as in touch, in somebody's later years or whatever, or this and that you still show up to a funeral and pay your respects. Because that's just on that. That's just on period. Right? Because that's going to be the last opportunity to pay respects, say anything else you wanted to say, a last prayer, a last whatever, you guys. If you wanted to give a statement, sometimes at these funerals now, they'll allow, a minute or 2 minutes, especially with these black churches, to, have people go up to the pulpit and say a few remarks about the person who's passed. And I am just so disturbed, you guys. It's actually the people who are not claiming to be Kevin Samuels fans, who are considered, quote, the detractors and the haters, that have more compassion, that have more empathy for the man. Make it make sense, you guys. That's what I mean. When you see people who come out the woodworks only when their supposed best friend or best ally dies, you should already know what the situation is. You should already know and have the discernment of what the situation is. And thank goodness for the friend of Kevin Samuels since the 1980s who was in direct contact with the family before posting her video yesterday exposing the lies. And she literally tagged all of the people considered to be, quote, of the manosphere. And literally, we were only shown from that memorial the best friend, and I believe one person, right? One person who, is at least, practicing what they're preaching and showing up. But everyone else was nowhere to be found, you guys. But they want to threaten you or send their followers to threaten other people's pages and threaten to do harm to people. But they're not even practicing what they're preaching, you guys. They're too busy on YouTube trying to control who says and who does what. No. Actions speak louder than words, and it always does at the end of the day, you guys. If you don't have the decency to show up to your supposed intimate friend, to your supposed closest friend's funeral, and you've known about it for weeks, you've had ample time to get your pennies together, to rub some dollars together, and purchase a plane ticket, purchase a train ticket, drive in an automobile, rent an automobile to go to Oklahoma City if the plane was too expensive, even though gas is high as I don't know what. There were several different routes that you could have taken to attend your friend's funeral, to pay your last respects. But instead, you want to be on YouTube. You want to be on YouTube getting a bag. And I'm just disgusted, you guys. I'm just disgusted. Now, I know there's going to be people who have mixed feelings about the live streaming of funerals. I would say this. So, even on a smaller scale, what happened due to COVID is there's a lot of funerals, you guys, that are being live streamed. Whether it's on the church's YouTube page, whether they are having the funeral company stream the funeral, whether they are, whatever it is, they are taking into account the fact that they wanted to, respect people who were high risk of getting COVID. They wanted to respect people who, are either elderly or have health conditions or what have you, something that is going to potentially impact them getting COVID, you guys. So that's a whole different situation than somebody just blatantly not showing up, but telling you guys for 2 weeks how close of a friend they were, but decided to, say thanks, but no thanks when it was time to really show where their loyalty lies. And this just proves furthermore that people are pretending to grieve. Certain people are pretending to, feel bad about what has happened, but really they were using the opportunity to audition for you guys. They were using the opportunity to audition for you guys to see if they could capitalize, to see if they could gain some of Kevin Samuels' 1.5 million followers. And then when they tried to pivot, it didn't work. So then they went back to the bullying tactics. Now, some have had the sense to completely step away once they saw who in the group was doing the clout chasing. Some had the sense to step away. Some had the sense to even apologize to Black women and say, hey, this is not who we are. And has completely removed themselves from discussing Kevin Samuels. But there are, those in particular who still want to be seen, who still want to be like Diddy. They want to be all in the videos. They want the camera. They want the lights. They want the action. They want your money. And now we see who really cared about Kevin Samuels at the end of the day, and that is Black women, you guys. Where was the alleged fiance? Where were all these people who were alleging how close and how intimate they were of Kevin Samuels and how good of a friend they were to him? But to not show up on the biggest day, on the biggest stage to say, hey, this truly was my friend, and not trying to be on YouTube for clout, not trying to be on YouTube to argue and bully people into silence and harass people, violating several of YouTube's guidelines that literally can get you banned from YouTube, that literally can get your channel taken down from YouTube. Employing those hate tactics only to not show up when it counts. Only to not show up when it matters most. And now I am hoping that the friend from the 80s of Kevin Samuels does a follow-up video to this memorial to say, hey, what happened? You posted that you were going to live stream the funeral on your page, even after the family told you not to, even after you personally spoke to the family and did not want Kevin Samuels' death exploited by his friends. So you still have that post up there claiming that you're going to stream it, only not to do it, but arguing with people instead. Like I said, sometimes it's weird how people have so much energy for people that you deem haters and detractors and people you try to say that are jealous or whatever else. But those are the ones who actually have the empathy, you guys. Those are the ones that actually have common sense and saw the situation for what it was. That if you have all this time to struggle stream for several hours on end and beg people to take your money, but you cannot devote a couple of hours out of your day to attend your supposed friend you had a supposed intimate relationship with, you can't even show up and pay your final respects. And it's people who have previously criticized Kevin Samuels in the past or who did not agree with some of his tactics or some of the things that he said in his previous content when he was here, that are the ones that actually have the compassion, that are actually the ones who actually care, that are actually the ones who are exposing the truth. Something is definitely wrong, you guys. And that's on period. That is on period, you guys. You should not be putting on a show for YouTube only to not even show up when it mattered the most. Make it make sense, you guys. Make it make sense. Who needs enemies when your friends are literally stabbing you in the back? Who needs enemies when it's your friends, your so-called friends, that are showing you that they only liked you when you were hot or when there was an opportunity to capitalize and make money off of you? And now that you are going to be buried, and now that the funeral is taking place, either they're going to continue to clout chase off of your name or they are going to disappear and pretend that they're, quote, mourning when you could have been grieving, you could have been mourning these past couple of weeks instead of doing all of these lives begging people for money. Begging people for $100 super chats. Putting on display your Bitcoin, your CashApp, your PayPal, your Venmo, your bank information to pay the money. No. They tuned in to get the funeral information. Kevin Samuels had over 1.5 million followers. Had the fans known sooner, they could have made a trip. But instead, you guys long stroked these people because you wanted their money. You wanted to make a bag off of Kevin Samuels. And now look, at the biggest moment, you have an opportunity to pay your final respects, to practice what you've been preaching on YouTube the past 2 weeks. And when it is all said and done, you are nowhere to be found. You want the smoke. You want to talk a big game behind, on YouTube and everything else. But when it is time to show up, you are nowhere to be found. And that's not acceptable, you guys. That is not Christian behavior. That is not godlike behavior. That is not somebody who is a friend, you guys. And that's on period. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments about Kevin Samuels' supposed friends, supposed ride or dies that were missing in action at his funeral, that knew about his funeral for weeks, but wanted to pull you guys in, pull in some subscribers, pull in some money, and delay until the very last moment to tell you anything that truly was going on about your godfather. So there is that. Please let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.